What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Gnome, and today we're going to be taking a look at Snorlax Stall. I talked about this deck a little bit in the honorable mention section of my top 5 best decks to play right now, and I got a request to do an updated deck list for it since my last video on it was like a couple months back, so it's not really as updated as it used to be. So, gonna give the deck another showing and just kind of talk about it here for a moment. So one of the things that made Stall much better is the Accompanying Flute, since what it does is we get to reveal the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. You choose any number of basic Pokemon you find there and put it onto your opponent's bench, and then you can shuffle the other cards back. So why this is so good is that the defense to Stall is that you just put just the attacker that you want on the field onto the into the active and nothing else on your bench as much as you possibly can. So that way they have nothing to use their trapping cards on, aka Counter Catcher or the copy of Boss's Orders. But if you're able to just use Accompanying Flute and take their basics, whether that's a Bidoof, whether that's a Lumineon, whether that's an Ogerpon, whatever that basic looks like, you're able to put that down in the active, have it trapped by Snorlax, and just kind of sit there and cause annoyance and cause problems. We can also accomplish this by playing Erika's Invitation, where we do very similar things. We take a basic out of our opponent's hand, get to put it into the active, or put it down onto the bench, bring it into the active, and then we get to switch our cards into the active slot as well. So if we trap something that we really want to be able to keep there, we can also use our Chi-Yu EX in order to deck them out. So we have a ton of options. We also run the Sandshrew for the Sand Screen ability. Pretty much what it does is it stops your opponent from being able to shuffle any form of trainer cards into their deck, and pretty much there's nothing they can really do in terms of using something like a Cyllene or a what's that card called? Pal Pad. Like, things like that just won't work, and it not only helps you deck out your opponent, but also limits their resources as well. So it's really, really good. Obviously, we also want to run the copy of Mimikyu in order to just wall out certain decks. Some decks just don't play an answer, or if they do, they only play one, and if we can get that decked out or removed, it works out pretty well in our favor. Really, what we're also looking to do is that we play a lot of item cards in order to bolster our Snorlax, our Mimikyu, or whatever else we have in the active. So we run Bravery Charms, make it harder for them to get knockouts. We run Defiance Vest for the exact same effect. We do run the Forest Seal Stone since we do have things like the Rotom in order to draw from, and it's just a super powerful card. One other card that I am running, though, is the Handheld Fan, since what can end up happening is that a lot of times your opponent will, let's say they get their attacker into the active, and they were able to use something like the Accompanying Flute to put a Pokemon on the bench that they don't really want or can't really use. So let's say Charizard, for example, we can get an extra card stuck on their bench, whether that is like their copy of Rotom or whatever it is that they put on. We're able to use the Handheld Fan, so as they attack into our Snorlax or whatever it is that we keep there, then we're actually able to move the energies off of their Pokemon onto something that isn't useful or helps keep them kind of trapped in the active, because they can't use energies if they want to use a retreat. So let's say we have Chi-Yu in the active and we're using Jealousy Surge or Singe rather, and we're discarding for 2 cards because we have something trapped in the active. They're out of switches, so they need to manually attach energies or whatever. We can always kind of use Handheld Fan if they attack into us, remove those off, and kind of go from there. So it works out pretty well, but overall, this is the list, guys. Definitely let me know what you think, and we'll see if we're able to get any games. Obviously, we'll get some, but most people will FF immediately as soon as they see Snorlax on the board, because they just don't want to play against it. So we'll see what we're able to find on the ladder in a moment, and I will see you guys in Game 1 in a minute. If you like the list, like the videos, all that kind of stuff, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. It really helps out the channel. It's very much appreciated. So thank you guys all for anyone who does so, and I will see you guys in Game 1 in a moment. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 1. Our opponent won the coin flip, and they're going to be going first. We open Snorlax, so we'll just play 1 for now. We'll wait to see kind of what our opponent's playing, what options they have, what they can actually do before we decide to make our play. We see Radiant Alakazam. Interesting. We can assume based off the sleeves that it's Dracopult. So we'll see momentarily. Yep. Well, that kind of shores up that for it being Dracopult. We see the Nest Ball, can grab them the Natsu. The best case scenario here is that we're able to kind of pick off some pieces and utilize the Handheld Fan will actually come in kind of big here. We are able to grab the Eri. That's actually pretty nice for us. We'll go ahead and use that, see if we can get something out of their hand that's kind of important. We were hoping for some rare candies, but we don't hit anything, which definitely a little sad. We can go ahead and grab our Rotom. Place the Handheld Fan in the active. We can go Pokégear one more time. We'll grab the Arven for now. And we can go ahead and instant charge. Cool. So we do have the Erikas, which is kind of nice. Right now, they will need to find themselves the Switch in order to get into Radiant Alakazam out of the active, unless they start to decide to attack with Radiant Alakazam. We'll see. What would be ideal is if we were able to get into, let's say, like, if they're running the Rotom or something like that, being able to get that on the bench and being able to pull that in would obviously be the most optimal, but it may not be something we're able to do. We'll have to wait and see. We can assume they're playing like 2 Switch in the deck at least. That would make the most sense. There's the first. Curious what they're going to go into, since I feel like holding that would have been better. I know that they want to make sure they're using it so it doesn't get Eri'd. But holding that would have probably been better, since they can't really do anything on this turn in regards to like attacking me or doing anything, so it would have in theory be better to wait. We're gonna go Iono here. This is actually not too bad for us. Get ourselves a new hand, see what our new options are. We do find the Accompanying Flute, which could become very big later. Since obviously, like I said, the Accompanying Flute, most Dracopult decks run something like the Rotom or some other basic that will be able to utilize and trap in most cases, whether that's something like a Manaphy or whatever. And so if that's the case, again, that's going to be our main trap target. So we'll see what our opponent decides to do. They are going to go Evolution. They place the Fire Energy down. At least I assume they'll go Evolution. The one nice thing, though, is, like I said, we do have the Handheld Fan, which will move the Fire Energy when they inevitably attack with Dracopult that will move the fire energy. We can throw it onto like something like the Radiant Alakazam or the Xatu. And if they run out of fire energies, there's really not much that their deck can do. We do find one Dreepy. Obviously, that's not what we were like hoping to find, but it's fine. What we can do here is we'll go Snorlax down, Bravery Charm, Nest Ball, in order to find... We don't have our Mimikyu available, which is a little bit annoying. Let's see. Do we want to be able to use Mantine? I don't think there's anything that's going to do. So we'll grab ourselves one more Lax, just to be annoying. Slap a Bravery Charm on that. And go ahead and Iono. The bosses and stuff like that is actually kind of nice for us. We can go ahead and instant charge, just so that way we can be annoying and keep pulling like Alakazam or something like that into the active as much as we want to. And we're still waiting for that, you know, main one card that we want to boss around. The main thing that we'll probably end up taking is this Xatu. Since it does a fixed sense of damage, it will require 3 energy in order to do it. So if they're putting a whole bunch of energy onto Xatu, obviously they can't really power up everything else. It's going to require manual attachments, so since it'll be in the active. So it'll end up working out for us that what we'll probably end up doing on our next turn is that we'll boss the Xatu into the active, just to be kind of annoying. So there's de-evolution. That doesn't really matter, they'll probably just use it to discard. But we can go de-evolution here. Or, not de-evolution. We can go boss's orders onto the Xatu, just to kind of force it into the active, and the more energies they attach to it, and more they try to like do stuff, we can always just counter catcher to something else later on. And we'll just kind of draw out the resources that way. So there's the Manaphy, obviously something we were hoping to catch earlier, though if we want to, and we have the opportunity, we can always go Mantine in order to put that onto the bench, giving ourselves another trap target. So we'll see what our opponent chooses to do. Obviously they can't retreat with Dracolock, but they can go Dracopult here and evolve, which is still fine. Because what can end up happening here is, like, let's say they knock out the... Let's say they go Dracopult here, which is most likely what's going to happen. They attach the Psychic Energy, they attack into us. Then what I can do... Interesting they discarded the Rare Candy. What I can do is just go into the next Snorlax. We can boss up the Xatu. Our Handheld Fan will remove one of the energies from the Dracopult. Probably what we'll end up doing is just moving the Psychic Energy off of it. Just throwing that onto this Dracopult back here since it already has one, so obviously giving it another won't really matter. That looks to be what's going to end up happening. The nice part, though, is that we do get to counter catcher rather than having to utilize our boss. Since that just means that we're going to be able to have access to our supporter on the next turn if we are able to get into one. Obviously, we can force Seal Stone, which we might do since there's not too much that we're going to directly benefit from at the moment. And we also want to be able to Penny to get the Rotom off the board. So they're putting all their damage counters onto the Snorlax in the back. Which is fine by us. We'll take the fire energy and we'll throw it onto the Alakazam. They can take a prize card. We'll go Snorlax here. Then we can go Counter Catcher. Pull up the Xatu. Because pretty much what the plan here is that we can just kind of keep Xatu on the board. As they attach energies, we'll just grab the next thing and just keep kind of rotating that around and just being really annoying. What we'll do here is go use the Seal Stone. We can use the Seal Stone to grab ourselves the Penny. We'll use the Penny to pick up the Rotom. Since again, we don't really want to allow them to have a boss target. So at this point, we can grab Eri and another Penny. And pass our turn. So now they're trapped. Obviously, if they boss into another Snorlax, it doesn't really matter since they're still trapped. So without a switch, they can't leave the active. And even let's say they Arven here for the switch, which, you know, is reasonable. They did already use one though, so we can assume, let's say they have two. It's not really gonna matter. And if they don't have one in their deck, they literally just lose. And it doesn't look like they do. This is why you gotta play multiple switch, you gotta play Professor Tauros, you gotta do something. This goes back to, like, in my video talking about, yeah, like a skateboard doesn't matter, you just can't retreat. This goes back to in my video, my top 5 best decks in the meta right now. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. But yeah, if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it. But one of the things I mentioned when I was talking about, like, my honorable mentions, that's ironic, I got a switch card of my own. One of the things that I mentioned when it came to the different decks and things like that is that one of the benefits that stall has right now is that you just can't tech for everything, and because stall's not as prevalent as it used to be, a lot of people just don't tech for it anymore. So now what ends up happening is that everybody's playing for a whole bunch of different, you know, scenarios and decks and everything like that. So it's like now we're in a position that there's really not much our opponent can do because they don't play they don't play the outs. And so let's say they play, you know, Professor Tauros scenario. It's like, okay, they pick this up. They bring in Drake-Bolt. Alright, well that's fine, because we can just bring in either like the Alakazam or like the Dreepy or whatever, and just kind of keep that loop going. What else is in our prizes? Alright, cool. So what we can do now is we can just go Misfortune Sisters. We get 2 Ultra Balls we get to discard. We see the Dracolock into Arven as well. Not anything super important. Obviously, we can just do that all again next turn. We'll throw down the Temple of Sinnoh just in case it becomes relevant to our opponent. Probably won't, because we already saw the what was it? The Unfair Stamp as their A-Spec of choice. I will say this. I know a lot of stall players, and I talked about this in my video months ago when I played this deck. I know a lot of things where like stall players get a lot of hate and a lot of rep and all that kind of stuff. And though it's not my favorite playstyle, I kind of hate to see that happen because I don't think it's really fair. Like, not everybody wants to play the hyper aggro, you know, chain combo focused deck. Yeah, our opponent's finally going to concede. So, you know, but like, don't hate on people for their deck choices. For me, I think it's pretty obvious. Snorlax is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I love this Pokemon. I love his dumb, fat, dumb body. But I would love to see a Snorlax card that isn't stall focused. But that being said, it's just like, let's say that, you know, just because Snorlax is my favorite Pokemon of all time, it means that, like, I want to play this deck, and I'm only going to play this one. It's like, it doesn't make me a bad person or a bad player or anything, so, like, don't hate on people for their deck choices, though I can definitely understand, like, if you're the Dragapult player, being extremely frustrated that because you don't run 3 Switch, you just can't play the game. But that just is what it is. That's going to be game 1, and I'll see you guys in game 2 in a moment. Peace. Alright, we're in a game number 2. We're going to be going first. We open the Lax, and honestly not much else. But we do have the Heavy Ball, so maybe that'll get us something. We do have the Arven and the Eri for following turns, if we so please. And we'll see what our opponent's playing in a minute, so that way we can kind of game plan what it is we need to look out for. We see... What the hell is this? Okay. Well, gonna be completely honest here, sports fans. I have no idea how to game plan because I don't really know what they're playing or what they can do. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw the fan on, see what we want to find. There's an Erika's. Maybe that'll bail us out. And we'll pass our turn. I don't know what their deck can/is yet. Are they playing just like all 4 Ogerpon? I think so. Bug catcher set. Interesting. Well, they can't really do anything. So that's good, I guess. The Iono's not bad for us, because we kind of need options anyway. So let's assume they have 4 Mask Change. If they go Cornerstone, then that's annoying, because we can't just, like, Mimikyu wall them. But if that's not the case, like, if they... Let's see what we find. Alright, we didn't hit the Accompanying Flute, kind of annoying. We'll grab one more Snorlax. We can go Rotom here, and we'll instant charge, since we can always pick up our cards if we want to with Penny later. I'm really not sure, because Cornerstone is the only thing that's going to be able to hit Mimikyu, right? Out of this deck. And the only thing they can use to really get into Cornerstone is playing the Mask Change. So I don't think there's much we have to worry about. If we get into an energy, we can go Nest Ball in order to pick up, what's it called? Wait a minute. I don't even think there's anything they can... Wait, hold on. Even if they bring out Cornerstone, can I just boss up this again? And if it doesn't... Because it... Yeah, they need the Legacy Energy, right? Do I want to go Chi-Yu, pick this up, and just start kind of discarding cards? Is that efficient? I could go... I think I just go Chi-Yu here. Attach the energy. Go Temple of Sinnoh. Pick up the Snorlax. Bring in Chi-Yu. Replace Snorlax down. And then just start discarding. Cool, we hit one of the masks. Because with Temple of Sinnoh down, I don't think there's much they can do, right? Okay, there's the second Ogre Swap. Because the Legacy Energy turns off the effect, so they have to clear... There's the third mask. So even if they play 4... The Temple of Sinnoh is turning this off, right? So they can't use the Torrent Bump until they clear it, right? Am I crazy? So they go Teal Dance. So they're out of masks, right? Yeah, they can't go the Torrent thing. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so they should have one more mask left. I'm gonna go Fan here. Arven in order to this, and then should I go Accompanying Flute here? I think so, right? Because if I can grab Cornerstone and just already have it on the board. I missed. Kind of annoying. But not the biggest deal in the world. We'll get to discard 2 more. Get rid of Ditto and an Ultra Ball. That's a really cute shiny Ditto card. There's Legacy Energy. Again, they need to find Water Energy in order to like really get much, like, to really get things going. Obviously they can retreat, bring in Teal Mask. But as long as we have Rotom with the Seal Stone, we're totally fine. Since if they run out of... Yeah, so they can go Ogre Pond here and knock us out. Which is fine. We'll take the Luminous Energy and throw it on to this one, I guess. We can bring Snorlax in. We can go Arven. Grab ourselves the Counter Catcher. And the Hero's Cape. From here, we can just Counter Catcher this back in, right? Because it can't really do anything to us. We'll just instant charge. Because all I can do is sob, right? Spare energy retrieval. They got rid of both cornerstones, which means they don't have another mask in order to like rotate into it. Which means if long... Oh, they do have another mask. Okay. And they have Jamming Tower. Good play on their part. Still doesn't do anything though, because that attack doesn't hit for weakness. So we'll go Temple of Sinnoh. And then they're out of masks, right? So theoretically speaking, we can grab Penny here. We can use Penny. Alright. Let's use the Star Alchemy here. That'll grab ourselves another counter catcher. It won't matter because we don't have them like trapped in the active. We need to deal with this. Alright, first things first, we'll bring this Ogerpon into the active. Then what we'll do is use Penny to pick up Snorlax. Bring this new one in. Yeah, I realized that the Mimikyu, I'm not going to be able to wall them. Because this has the same, like, thing as... Oh, wait a minute. This isn't the same as... Okay, never mind. I can just wall them with Mimikyu. I was gonna say, I thought it was I thought this was an exact copy, pretty much, of what's that card called? I thought it was an exact copy of Alolan Vulpix V, but it's not. So can I wall Mimikyu here? Because this prevents all damage. I can go Mimikyu. And this attack is not affected by resistance by any effects of your opponent's Pokemon. Oh no, it does mean that I'm gonna get walled. Right? Or not walled, but like blocked out, right? We'll Team Yell's Cheer. Go Penny. Another Penny and an Arven. Throw in another Lax. And end my turn. So as long as... Alright. If I can get into another counter catcher, I could just go into whatever Teal Mask doesn't have any energies on it, right? So that's pretty much all I need to do. The Bug Catcher set. Yeah, they don't even have enough, they won't have enough energy unless the entire rest of their deck is energy to put enough on Teal Mask to survive, or the extra Teal Mask rather, to survive until... Oh, wait a minute, I'm an idiot. It doesn't matter because I have Temple of Sinnoh up, so they can't even use their attack anyway. I can't believe I overlooked that. There was so much going on there, and I was so confused by like how their deck worked. Oh, I'm so dumb. Alright, well, good thing I made the right choice and put Mimikyu in the active. Oh, that was really funny. Alright, huge mistake on my part. For sure. But that's going to be game number 2. Definitely a weird one there, and definitely I made a lot of misplays and misunderstandings by the end. I'm extremely exhausted, and playing... I will say this. Playing against a deck you don't understand or don't know what's happening, because I've never actually bothered to like look into the like full rotation mask change Ogerpon deck. So looking at a deck like that and like trying to understand it while playing Stall is a little bit hard, because say what you want about Stall, but it is a mentally taxing deck to play against, because you have to kind of pay attention the whole time and know like what everything does and what everything is. And so being a bit tired and playing this deck is harder than it looks. Stall does not get enough credit. But that's going to be 2 games, guys. These games, obviously being Stall, go a little bit long. So I will see you guys all in the next video. And I will, yeah. I'm so tired. I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace out. Be sure to let me know what you want to see next in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And I will see you guys all later in tomorrow's video. Peace out.